Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Andrew. Very excited to have on our channel today not only a pen tester, an author, a CVE finder, and all at the young, sharp age of 22. Armaan Sidana, I'm so pleased to have you on the channel and as a part of the Ginger Hacker Initiative team as well. But Armaan, I'm going to pass it to you for a short introduction.
Thanks, Andrew, for inviting me, and I'm totally in love with the concept of Ginger Hacker. And thanks for having me on team. So, as you all know, my name is Armaan Sidana, and I'm the CEO and founder of Nexus Security and SecX. I'm 22. I'm currently in Australia and pursuing my master's of IT with cybersecurity. And as far as the professional things of aspects are concerned, I'm an OSCP. It's CISA, CSFCP, and that's something everyone knows about me. Apart from this, that I'm a guitarist, I'm a boxer, I love to shoot, and that's pretty much about me. And yeah, that's all.
Armaan, so excited to have you on. And we've talked for a bit now. And yeah, the amount you have done and pulled off by the sharp age of 22, man, like I feel like I'm behind the power curve at 34. It's like, it's so impressive, man. And we're going to get to talk about this for a little bit and kind of dive in and kind of get to share your story, which really might kind of relate to a lot of folks trying to break into cyber. So the first question I always ask everyone as they come onto the channel is cybersecurity is not always the peak or number one choice on our job rosters, right? I remember back in the day when I was back in kindergarten, first grade, second, when teachers are like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we're saying doctors and astronauts, and I want to be a dog groomer or a saxophonist or a band member. Cybersecurity wasn't really on the table, but obviously it's something that you and I both got interested in and are both very passionate about. And what's kind of your story of how you broke into cyber?
So typically, as you said, my family wanted me to become an engineer, but I chose shit with maths, to be honest. So yeah. So when I reached my higher secondary education, till the time I knew that I was bad at maths. Just as a disclaimer, my bad is getting 86 out of 100, not atrociously bad, right?
Oh my
So
goodness.
some people would say, Roman, yeah, 86 is not bad. But the point is, I love to do things just because I want them to be done. Even if I score 99 in some subject, but I don't feel like I'm happy in that, I don't do that. So my father wanted me to become an engineer, but just to take you into an example how I wanted to become in cybersecurity. At that age, I didn't knew about cybersecurity, to be honest. That the things I'm doing is concerned about cybersecurity. So there was a game known as Clash of Clans, and you need to get some gems in that in order to be into good position of that place. So
Yep.
I thought how I could get the gems. So the first step was YouTube. I just okay, how to hack Clash of Clans. Then I came into knowledge of a term that's known as routing, right? Routing. So when I understood about it, I know, okay, when we route the hardware to get excessive permissions onto something is known as routing. Then after my phone was rooted, I learned about a tool known as SB Game Hacker. I don't know if it's still running, but it was easily available on Play Store at that time, SB Game Hacker. So I came about that term, but SB Game Hacker only runs if the phone is rooted. So I did both things. I went into Clash of Clans. I modified the value from, let's say, 10 gems to 999 gems. And I was done. That was where my interest got peaked into it. Then by the time I started my +1, I chose commerce and management, right? And I started learning about networking web applications from YouTube itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got to know about the term CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker Exam, and you won't believe I was so dumb. I believe that in order to clear CEH version 11, I need to clear all the versions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Then I didn't know it's not like that, but so that foolishness helped me a lot because I technically got the dumps for all 10 versions and prepared for the entire 10 versions. And as soon as I started my college, I cleared the CH exam. And after CH, there was no looking back. I got to know about a lot of internships. I started my internship when I was 18. My first internship was at Arachnomis Technologies. And then I slowly started getting into bug bounty, OSCP. I started my own company. There was never looking back from there. So yeah.
Well, I have to mention it because I know when I first saw it was amazing. So what time, and obviously everyone I think knows or they can look on your LinkedIn, but how fast or quick did you pass the OSCP?
4 hours, 4 hours.
That is
Seven.
so
I got
impressive.
my 70 points in 4 hours. Even though I didn't submitted my report in 4 hours, but I made, so how technically it works is I cleared the 40 points portion in 1 hour.
Mhm.
Then I took a break of around 1 hour. Then I came back, cleared the other lab in around half an hour. Then I started making a report, and within 5 hours, I was done with everything, right? I had my report for 70 points, but the point was I wanted to gain more. So I took
Of
a
course.
I took a hours long break just to get more marks. And yeah, I cleared it. So technically, it was just 4 to 5 hours, which was needed to pass. But yeah, I thought like, why not to try more? Because you paid for that lab, so why not to get a taste of the lab? So yeah.
I'll ask this, Armaan, is do you think in being more blue team, and I know I understand my red team fundamentals, but when it comes into like when folks want to break into pen testing,
Mhm.
this is another good question I kind of like ask. Education, experience, certifications. Is there one that you hold higher than the other? And if so, why?
Depends. Totally depends. This is very subjective question depending upon, because let's take an example. You studied from MIT, but you have zero knowledge. You did CISSP and OSCP, but you have zero education. You have both, but you have zero confidence. So it's it's like getting all the apples in a basket is really hard. So technically, if you want to get a good job, it should be a mix of everything. Just to take into consideration, if you have skills but you don't know how to showcase them, if you have knowledge you don't know how to present it, it's all bullshit in this particular environment where everything is so competitive. So I personally believe, for all the students who are watching, just get your education sorted out from good universities. When I say good, I don't mean costly. Let me
Yes.
give a disclaimer. I say the curriculum should be good. Side by side, you should start taking internships, clear out your certifications, and focus on your soft skills. This is the most underrated portion a lot of people don't work into. If you have good communication, you have good hold on the language you speak, you have good vocabulary, you feel a sense of pride when you talk to 100 people or 10,000 people. So focus on your soft skills, and if you follow this path, most probably by the end of your graduation, you would be pretty good and far ahead from the same students you're studying with. So yeah.
No, and honestly, being well-rounded, I think, and having those professional soft skills for communication, being confident in your presentations, your findings, it's so I'd say almost like looked over sometimes. And I think you're nailing the head because I mean, like some people say, well, we have probably many of friends and stories you'll hear where it's like, oh, I didn't go to school and I have a great job and I have my Sec Plus or OSCP. And like, yes, there's your one-offs and the 1% that can do and have those luckily journeys. And that can be a mix between extensive knowledge though and certifications, or it's understanding those fundamentals so strongly that you can exactly have that high confidence to talk and explain those when it comes into a job interview. But I think, as you mentioned very much before, it's very much subjective, depending also on the organization you want to get into. If you're trying to get into a FANG company, Microsoft, Google, Netflix, there's going to be specific requirements, whether it be certifications, whether it be experience, whether it be a degree that you have to meet. And I think
Right.
exactly like you said, if you're lacking in one of the three and you can't hold the other two to hold one that could be missing at a higher bar,
All right.
you're going to get passed over, or they're going to unfortunately skip you over for someone that either meets the criteria or
Mm.
has exactly what they're looking for.
So exactly how it works in FANG is there's a term known as HR thresholds. So before even thinking about your profile, they have 10 set of criterias. You could be above that threshold, but you even need to meet that threshold. So as you said, so if OSCP is a HR threshold for that job title, they would say, okay, you studied from a Tier 1 college, fine. You had an OSCP, fine. You have 3 years of experience, fine. Then only they would look into that pool of applicants in order to get you invited onto that interview. No matter you have 10 years of experience, but you don't have OSCP, they won't account it because that's an
Oh, wow.
HR threshold for that. So you need to be on the edge of the minimum criteria. You can have above that, but don't below that. And this is subjective tools. Let me tell you a very interesting story. Sometimes referrals get you above that particular thing. So let's say there's a company and the HR threshold says you should be an OSCP, but somehow you know the senior recruiter at that company. So they'll say, okay, I got a person who's technically good, and they skip that particular screening round of the like this resumes and CVs, and they directly go into the interview rounds. No HR threshold, nothing. Just clear the technical interview, get a round with the HR, and you're fine to join the company. But again, subjective. I personally believe if you have good network, even a person who's uneducated could make much more money than a Harvard graduate. Networking in modern times is a key to making money, get more deals. If I take my example, my network are across students, professionals. We can take an example. We met through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's a network. That's why we are talking. Just because one of my close friends, Bandana, had a podcast with you. I saw her post. I saw you. I discovered you. I messaged you. That's how it works. So yeah, LinkedIn and stuff plays a really important role. So yeah.
No, Nate, I think you mentioned before, and we'll go into a follow-up question when it comes into networking and mentoring and like the importance of that. Although I think you hit the nail on the head. Having a strong network across LinkedIn, across like the local area you're in. If you're a student and your college has like a cyber meetup or a hangout or like a CTF team, be a part of those. Be active in those. If your college doesn't have one, talk to your school and see if you can create one. I know locally for here in the US, like in a lot of states and cities, we have our local DEF CON meetups. So like I'm a part of DC 480, which is our DEF CON, and then our zip code for our area code is 480. So our DEF CON group is DC 480. And I've met tons of different folks from there, hiring managers, engineers, security analysts, students, that the same way it's a way to network. It's a way we talk about and showcase skills. We talk about up and coming CVEs or job positions or stuff with AI, obviously, that's coming up and about. And having that wide network is huge to help and kind of educate, kind of also folks trying to break into cyber of like, hey, look, like I want to get into GRC. Should I go get my OSCP? Well, maybe not if you're trying to get into compliance, because I wouldn't say it's really applicable. But if you're trying to become a pen tester and you're talking about trying to go get like the Security Plus, I'd kind of maybe tell you the same thing. Like, well, if you want to be a pen tester, like you should be looking at the EJPT, OSCP, CEH, pen test level 1 from TryHackMe. I know TryHackMe's coming around now, trying to get their certifications kind of up to standard. Heath Adams with TMC Security.
PNPT.
Yeah, TMC.
TCM Security, the
Yep.
Cyber Mentor. Yeah,
Yep.
QCM, yeah.
So jumping out of some of his courses as well to go down the red team path. And I mean, Armaan, I'm sure we could also talk to, like, if I had to ask you, like, what are the top 3 skills you should know as a pen tester, you could probably even recommend like Burp Suite, Nmap, or maybe other specific tools, I guess, maybe, or if we'll go ahead and ask, what do you think would be 3 important tools for pen testers or trying to break into pen testing to be familiar with, or maybe you would say decent at?
Technically, my answer would create a chaos because for me, 3 important tools to become a pen tester is you should have good understanding of your target. I'm not talking about tools, because if you have brain, you could utilize any tool to get your work done.
TAC help can take you so far. And let me tell you, if you don't know a tool and just go into a TAC help and you can just see all the things you're allowed to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. There are pages like TAC help, hack tricks, and a lot of things. So yeah, first thing I believe to become a good pen tester is you understand your target. I always use the entire website, as a normal user to understand what they offer as a normal user. The second thing you should know about being a good pen tester is use less tools, but effectively. You can't find crazy bugs just by using tools. Most of the bugs which are most severe are a result of logic errors and your manual analysis. The third thing is a lot of people ignore the tech stack. If you don't know about the tech stack, you miss a lot of high severity bugs. Just as an example, you are testing on a PHP website, right? But you know the bugs about WordPress. You aren't going to understand how the technology behind that particular thing is working. If
Okay.
you have a PHP, you are testing with ASP payloads. You're not going anywhere. You think the backend is a Linux, but it's a Windows. No payload's going to be executed, right? So being a pen tester, it's not about using Nmap. It's not about using burp sudo. It's not using any automations. But if you guys want a heads up from me, so the tools you should use is burpsuit, Kaido, Nmap, Magic Recon, Recon FTW. These are pretty much I use because for my when I do pen testing, I have a mix of manual and automation testing. Mostly my manual is reading through the source code, JS files. There's tools like JSLews. Because JS files are gold mines, then I pretty much use Burpsuit for all the manual analysis. For the repetitive tasks like subdomain enumeration, gathering, and all that IP lookup and stuff, I have my custom script running. I load it up to a VPS. Every time a new subdomain comes it performs all the nuclear template scan on it, get me the subdomains, get me the screenshot of every subdomain, test it against some 403 by parsers, JS files, and all that shit that we could do about using automation. It does that for me. Then I see what domain is of interest to me. Then I start with doing the manual recon in it. And one thing that helps me a lot is I make a lot of documentation. Just as an example, I just do the spider on the exact website. So for the people who don't know, spider is you technically try to map all the URLs of that particular website using the endpoint. So when you have that, you know how vast is your attack surface area. And I try to think as an hacker that what mess a developer could have created with the code. And if you try to recognize a pattern, like let's say there might be times you don't find a bug for 3 days, but you find a bug on the fourth day, you got the pattern where the developer doesn't know about security. Match that exact pattern to every endpoint. You would hit gold mines. I was testing on a gaming company. I didn't find any bug for 4 days. I was devastated because I had to start getting self-doubt because, yeah, what the shit you are doing, Armaan? But on the fourth day, I was testing on an endpoint. It was a profile page updation endpoint. And I was testing CSRF on it, and it wasn't really working. I changed the get method or the post method to delete. Technically, that delete method is for that particular endpoint. If I am saying delete profile picture, so it would just delete that profile picture. But if I write delete slash, it deleted the entire account. Now I clicked,
Oh,
okay,
wow. Okay.
delete slashes, deleting the entire account. What if I remove the CSRF token from here? I made a CSRF POC, send it to victim. You click on it, your account is deleted. No recovery. A P4 escalated to a P2. And on every subdomain on that website, that was the exact bug I found out. I made $4,000 just by finding one bug across multiple endpoints. So yeah.
That's amazing. And that actually brings up a great another follow-up question. So bug bounties. So I know there's Bug Crowd, there's
HackerOne,
HackerOne.
Integrity, Synac, Yogosha, yeah, lot.
So other than having the first piece of advice of like just go on there and make an account and start looking around, is there maybe a methodized or standardized process you look into when I think you already hit it pretty well, like doing reconnaissance and really doing the deep, being curious. And I think that's one thing that folks need to understand when you're getting into pen testing or bug bounties. You have to be curious. You need to be willing to break things, and you have to then kind of figure out why that's happening. But is there kind of like I know you have an amazing you have like 17, soon to be, I think you said 20, if I remember talking on Udemy, some courses coming up.
Right.
17 already created, but then a few more I think you're creating currently. But
around 3-4 are coming next month, so yeah, most probably. Yeah.
So would you have any recommendations to if someone wanted to get into bug bounty hunting, what's your best advice? Not to just have you regurgitate everything you just said, because I think that does hit the nail on the head on like, hey, do your reconnaissance, know your domain as an end user, and like the mapping piece of it.
My finest advice would be don't rush. A lot of people try to jump into bug bounty directly, but they don't know about networking. They don't know about how client and server side works. They don't know about the basic stuff. So try to learn Linux, web application fundamentals, networking before getting into things, and don't just come and make accounts on Bugcrowd and stuff. Just because when I am telling my mistakes when I started, I end up finding duplicates, and in that like demotivates you, and moreover it impacts your overall account. Just as an example, you won't believe when I started, I got 16 duplicates and 22 not applicables. Because I started, I didn't know how things work, how proper reporting works. I didn't even knew self-XSS is a P5, right? I'm not revealing, I'm not like trying to conceal facts just because I'm trying to give the real picture of how things work. So even if I found good bugs in next 3 years, that NAs and duplicates would still impact my overall profile score. That would impact my private programs recommendations. So what you should ideally do is if someone's new, if you have done your networking, you have done your web application fundamentals, try to find privately hosted programs using Google Docs. And there's a platform known as Open Bug Bounty. And there's one another tool known as radar.io, bbradar.io. It gives the list of bug bounty programs. Try to remain off record. Don't try to be a part of the leaderboard. Don't try to make accounts. And if you're finding bugs on those open targets where you directly report them on email, if you're doing good on your open bug bounty, you're doing good in your private hosted programs, then make an account on Bugcrowd and HackerOne. Now when I started hunting on Bugcrowd and HackerOne, I slowly started getting bounties and rewards. But in the meantime, I was preparing for my OSCP. Once I cleared my OSCP, I got to know about a company known as Yogosha. A very few people get selected in that because that has an entry test, right? It was a night before an Indian festival, Diwali. I had my test of Yogosha. I cleared it. There are around 1,000, 1,500 hackers, and the programs are really good. Now I hunt on Yogosha, and my rank is around top 200
Oh, wow.
on
Awesome.
Yogosha. And in one quarter, I guess I was in top 5 in one quarter of hunting. So I don't really hunt on Bugcrowd and HackerOne now. I have, because I have a lot of private pen tests going on, Yogosha going on. So, and at the end of the day, these ranks, these achievements are something which is complementary. These are not something that defines your talent. There are way better hackers in the world who don't hold these ranks, but they could have a devastating effect on your infrastructure if they're once in. So yeah, don't
Absolutely.
take it don't take it as a pride if you okay chops, and it doesn't matter if you can't get a solution to a problem. You are no good. No matter your rank is top one in the world. These are good, but take it as a compliment. Don't take it as your ultimate destination.
So, Armaan, such good information. And I hope my students and folks just trying to break into pen testing are kind of like really absorbing that in. But I guess a question I also have is, so mentorship and becoming a mentor. When would you say in your career do you know it's time to be a mentor? And then for folks trying to find a mentor, what advice would you give for folks that are looking currently for that in their kind of career? I know I've opened my doors this last year to mentorship and have been slowly starting to kind of mentor and talk to more and more folks trying to get into cybersecurity. Obviously, my expertise is blue teaming because I've been in SOC work, more of a blue team role. But obviously, when I have folks that come to me looking for GRC, pen testing, sales, procurement, I have that network I can still kind of direct them to on like, hey, as the Ginger Hacker Initiative kind of our mission statement is, we're trying to be a shepherd where it's like, hey, look, I'm not a pen tester, but I have a guy named Armaan who I've been talking with. I'm sure if he's free, he would love to talk to you for 15, 20 minutes to just give you some good advice. But yeah, when do you think is that time to where you know you're ready to be a mentor? And then how would you find a mentor if you're trying to find one today?
This could be like controversial because it's very personal opinion. Just take an example. You might be exceptionally good at what you do, but you are atrociously bad at explaining things. Right. I have seen a lot of lecturers who have 30 thesis, but when they try to explain some stuff, no one gets the hold of what exactly they are saying. So I believe you should be thinking of becoming a mentor when you personally believe you are able to connect to the audience, no matter what knowledge you are gaining. Just as an example, you have done your maths till 10th standard, but you're confident that you could teach students up to class ninth. That means you're a good mentor. But someone has done PhD in maths, but he can't even tell you what the previous semester was about, and he can't explain stuff. Makes no sense. So it's like being a mentor is like a personal question to your inner self. Can I be the mentor? Am I passionate? Becoming a mentor is not about having knowledge, it's about having that passion so that you could give that passion as a torch, like torch of fire to your students, and they should like it's like our moment, right? So when I teach, it's not something about, let's say I'm explaining a topic. When why I feel like I'm a good mentor, when I get positive reviews from the students that whatever you explained just went into our head and it stuck there. When I get negative reviews, I try to incorporate them and try to step into their shoes, how they want to listen. Just as an example, why I just a counter question to that is that when I was a student, I looked up on Udemy for great courses. I even invested a lot of amount on that Udemy courses. But what they were trying to teach was the conceptual part where they hid everything and just showed the perfect points where they were looking good.
Yep.
When I do pen testing, there's a course of mine known as Life Bug Bounty. When I do that, Andrew, you won't believe 20 hours of pen testing uncut.
Oh
No
man.
cuts. No cuts. If I'm getting some rabbit holes, I show that. Even I'm getting report duplicates, I show that. I've been some problem, I show that. And I intentionally take the wrong path in some videos to show that students, you would go on that path. This is how you should need to come back. So becoming a mentor is a self question. Are you able to step into their shoes and show them what exactly is wrong and what exactly is right? And if it makes you happy, anyone can be the mentor. But don't try to become a mentor just because you want recognition.
Yes.
Be- because there are two types of people in the society. One that recognizes your effort. The other one is who don't recognize your effort and they would try to say almost everything to make you disheartened. So if you have that feeling that no matter what people say to me, I have believe in my skills. I know I'm doing good for students at reasonable prices. Being a businessman and being a mentor is different. If you're
Yeah.
trying to make a business out of mentorship, you would fail miserably. But if students want to make a business because you are a good mentor, you would succeed just because they want you to reach a wider audience. They would share it amongst their friends, family, and peers. But if you're trying to say, okay, I would loot students, I would make billions of dollars, it's not going to work because it's a typical industry where if you have a portion of their heart with you, they are happy. If you're trying to rug them off, they rob their banks, it's not going to work. So, yeah.
No, it's so crazy because there's so many gatekeepers in the industry, like you mentioned, where it's like you'll see like a YouTube video or a video of someone doing a process like, oh yeah, this is how you do this awesome exploit, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh man, or I know I was trying to run like evil jinx and I wanted to do evil jinx with one of my buddies to like, with approval, of course, obviously, of like, hey, like, let's try to fish each other. We'll make this fake account. And I got into such a rabbit hole because like there's a piece of it wasn't working. And I'd watch the video. I'm like, I'm doing exactly what the video said. And then after me and my buddy had to jump through a few Reddit rabbit holes where like, oh dude, we had to download an additional piece of this that wasn't even showcased on the YouTube video. And so it's that piece of like they're showing the perfect shell of what it's supposed to be, but they didn't show the entire work of how to get the whole thing up and running. And I think just like you said, like trying to find full solidified, unedited, like, hey, from start to finish, like with errors included, it just shows, I think, more the positive light on like, look, you're going to get stuck. You're going to have questions. You're going to have to do some research. And here's what we found. Now you could also, we clicked right, but you click left and that could take you down a whole different rabbit hole. So I think, like you said, showing those struggles and kind of deep dives are huge into fully kind of showing the full what's expected in breaking into cyber. Because one, it's a continuously learning field. Things are changing every 6 months. There's new tools that get dropped. There's new concepts. But as long as you have, I think, a still strong basic fundamentals on how things run, how things work, it will continuously help you kind of be successful in this field. And exactly like you said, having that boost of confidence and wanting just to see people grow rather than have your wallets grow is huge, because that's the whole point of the Ginger Hacker Initiative. Is we want folks that want to break into cyber or transition into cyber have the ability and the skills, because obviously we know SAN certifications that are great training, I think, but they're so expensive. And if I can just have someone, if I can point them to a YouTube university and point them to some cool YouTube videos, or Udemy where there's some awesome lower valued classes they can get into that still has great content, I'd rather have them go that route to kind of learn the path.
Right. That's are you like how I do is whenever I make a course, I give 1,000 coupons free for everyone. So that's way I target the most enthusiastic people. My Discord channel of SecX has around 1,100 people. So whenever my course goes live, I just say, okay, just create a support ticket. The first 100,000 people creating a support ticket would get that course for free, so that I know my course is reaching the right audience. They give the reviews, they get good ratings because they are enthusiastic. They complete the course in 2 days. Initially, I'm a businessman. I won't sugarcoat things. I'm a businessman. I'm a mentor. I want my course to reach the right audience so that I have the right feedback.
Mm-hmm.
If on the first day of my course, I'm able to reach a targeted audience of 1,000 people. No one's a good businessman than me. They got the course for free. I got the targeted audience for 1,000. Even if 20% of that audience give me reviews, I have 200 ratings on the very first day of launch. My course doesn't need fancy marketing on Udemy. I don't spend any cost. I give to the community. Community gives me back.
Yeah,
So
it's wild when it comes to the network communities that you can build to have one, such strong good feedback, and two, like you mentioned, it's like that's if you're not targeting the correct audience,
right.
you can completely go off canter on like who you're trying to hit. So like if you were to drop that and like the simply cybers like sometimes can be very GRC specific sometimes, although they do have some great work going right now with Tyler Ramsby for the pen testing. But if you have like 100 GRC analysts jump into that pen testing course or a specific course like targeting into pen testing or bug bounty, they're gonna be like, whoa, man, this course is way too hard or high level. But it's because that's not their lane. That's not what they're maybe going down.
You
But they say, oh, look, there's this awesome course. Like, oh, let's go check it out. Same thing if I send like a brand new security analyst into the OSCP course for a week, he's gonna be like, yo, dude, like, what did you just do? Like, I'm a defender. Like, I don't have any aspirations to be a pen tester. And like, that was the hardest thing ever. They're still gonna take away from the courses and the training. I always tell people like, look, you should always be looking into the next role you want to get into to learn. Sometimes I kind of feel like, and I can't remember, I was talking to, I think, another individual on my channel named Chris. He's like, yeah, he's like, my mindset sometimes is like, rather than just learning to learn for that next position you want to get into. If I want to become a pen tester and ethical hacker, yeah, go start working on CEH or OSCP or making sure I'm understanding those concepts. If I want to go to manager, maybe go down the PMP route or CISSP and make sure I hold those managerial certifications that the industry requires or some organizations need that won't waive offer experience. But when you were first starting off, did you ever provide information that didn't lead you to a bug bounty, but then later down the road, does like the organization say, hey, but because of your research, we did find X issue? Or do you still get maybe a credit to fighting misfortunes in organizations that aren't like a bug bounty requirement? Does that make sense?
That actually happened with me. The company name was Criteo, if I spell it correct. So I found the bug bounty page. It's like 3 years back. So I found the bug bounty page and I reported a subdomain takeover, but that wasn't a pure subdomain takeover. It was a third-party service. that was a subdomain. So I reported the bug. Initially, they said that it's not a pure subdomain takeover because it's not a WordPress or AWS subdomain. It's like a third-party subdomain for some configuration, maybe a help desk channel or something. I don't clearly remember. So initially we said that there won't be a bounty, but by the evening they said that subdomain was stale for a lot of time. We were paying more money to get that renewed. So here's $50 for appreciation. So yeah,
Okay. Okay, that's kind of
yeah.
cool. Yeah, because that's one thing, like you mentioned, like where you're finding, and if I'm using the terminology correctly, please correct me. But like, so when you're saying like dedupes or like things that don't count, are those accounted for? Of like, hey, these have already been disclosed or founded.
Mm. So how it works is that there are stages. So first is duplicates. Duplicates means already a researcher has found out before you. Then it comes not applicables. You think it's a bug, but for the security, it's not bug.
Okay.
Then there are internal duplicates. No other researcher has done that, but the internal team already know about that. Then there are no fix issues that
Mm-hmm.
they know this is a bug, but they don't want to fix it. So there are different rules in that. So.
Okay. No, that's good knowledge to have. I actually wasn't aware of that. Well, Armaan, I have two final questions for you. So first off,
Yeah.
so glad to have you on the channel. And as a thank you, which it's in transit or it will be in transit soon, we do have your Ginger Hacker hoodie with your specialized back, by the way, which I'll let you disclose once you receive it. So huge thank you for coming on the channel. This was so much fun, and I probably definitely want to have you back on, as we mentioned before we kind of started recording, to show, as you mentioned before, I know you have your Udemy classes and other videos of you getting to do some amazing web app penetration testing examples and demonstrations, but would love to have you back on for that. But yeah, last two questions I have for you. So when you're not doing cybersecurity or school, what do you try to do for fun? What do you do to relax? What do you do to kind of unplug and kind of step away
Mm.
from the computer?
So I do play guitar. I do a lot of singing. I play DJ. I write books. My one of my books is already there on Amazon. It's known as A Myth of Dreams. I am about to publish my two more books, and I'm very outgoing person. I be on beaches. I'm with friends. Last night I was in club with till 3 a.m. with my friends. So yeah.
Nice.
And more, I don't drink, I don't smoke. So the only kick for me in my life is traveling, work, having fun, talking to family, trying to get a good life. So yeah, when I'm not on computer, I pretty much love to do everything. I play pool, I play snooker, play table tennis, I play PS4, everything. I don't, I'm atrociously bad at soccer. I play very bad. The only thing I can do is make other people fall while I play, right? I'm very bad at that, but almost every sport I love to be a part of it. I play tennis,
Awesome.
I play badminton, so yeah.
What's been your favorite place to travel to and why?
Um, if I'm in Australia right now, my favorite place to travel would be my back home. But guys, if we take that on into account, the most beautiful places I have visited till now would be Tasmania.
Okay, awesome.
This
Very cool.
Tasmania is really beautiful. After that, I would keep up Nepal. Nepal is a really good destination. I loved it. And the one place I would love to explore in future would be Switzerland for sure. When
Okay.
when I get married. So yeah, that's a plan saved for. So yeah.
Well, amazing. Well, Armaan, this was so amazing having you on the channel. So glad. I know we had to figure out our time differences being from Australia and the US. So it's an
Yeah.
early morning for me, a later day for you. But last piece of advice before we sign off, last piece of advice you would give someone trying to break into cyber.
Just don't lose your hope. Cyber is not something that comes in a day. The graph in cybersecurity, I always say to my students, it's like, uh, oh shoot.
Roller
It's like,
coaster.
guys, trust me. It's like for 3 months, 6 months. Okay, after 2 years, when I say I mean it, just because there are 100 things you need to learn at a time, and after a certain time, you make together all these bits and pieces, and almost instantly everything you studied till now makes sense. till that point, you need to be consistent and just dump knowledge in. Getting on, getting on, getting on, getting on. You would get irritated. You would leave this field. You would complain that why the hell I stepped into cybersecurity. But once that moment, when you compile every information you have, there's no looking back. So the final piece of advice is be consistent. Cybersecurity is a field you need to learn every day till you die. Trust me, you need to be very connected with your Google, Twitter, Medium, read a lot of articles just because we get outdated almost every day. We get outdated almost every day. If you think you did OSCP and you won't read any news till the time you die, you would be replaced very soon, my friend, because when the next hiring would go on, a person with most recent amount of knowledge, the most convenient tech stack, CVEs, bugs, methodologies, approaches would get your job because company wants results. No company is honest to their employees. They want the best people. Trust me, love your job, don't love your company. If you love your job, the company would love you. But if you love your company, you would be thrown out no matter what you do for that company. That's the hard fact. A lot of companies might work their employees, but my personal experience is just be in love with your job. That's all. That's it.
Armaan, excellent advice. And everyone, thank you so much for staying tuned on another amazing episode. And as always, we will catch you on the next episode of Breaking into Cyber.